morning, guys. Today I have for you Chris Van Allsburg's The Wretched Stone. Now, there's something interesting about that title because wretched already tells us part of the mystery. Wretched means bad or horrible, disgusting, in a way that angers people usually. So whatever this stone is, it's a terrible, terrible thing, right? People don't like it. And we'll have to read to find out more. Now, this one is written as a diary or a captain's log. He's going to be the captain of a boat, and he writes his words as a diary. So they've got dates on them, and that's going to be kind of important. Why would a writer use that setup? That's something to be thinking about while we read. And when we get to the end, I'll ask you again and I'll give you my thoughts on it. The last thing I want you to think about while we read is the stone itself. I think this stone is what we call an allegory. That means it stands for something else. It's a rock in the book, but it's supposed to symbolize something. So I want you to be thinking about what that stone might stand for. Are you ready? Okay. May 8th. We finished bringing supplies around early this morning. At midday, we left on the tide and found a fresh breeze just outside the harbor. It is a good omen that our voyage has begun with fair winds and a clear sky. The first mate, Mr. Howard, has brought together a fine crew. These men are not only good sailors, they are accomplished in other ways. Many read and have borrowed books from my small library. Some play musical instruments, and there are a few good storytellers among them. May 17th, so about 9 days have gone by. Our passage is going well. The usual boredom that comes with many days at sea is not present on this ship. When the members of this clever crew are not on duty, I find them singing and dancing or amusing each other with tales of past adventure. We could take a little inspiration from these sailors during our quarantine, couldn't we? Instead of being bored, we could find some creative ways to spend our time, like learning a new dance, or singing a song, or telling stories. These are all great ideas. June 5th, so about a month in. Land ho! Slightly before sunrise, we spotted an island. I have consulted my charts, but I do not see it recorded. It's not on a map. This is odd, since ships have sailed through these waters for years. Apparently, they have all missed this small place. We are low on water and would be happy to find fresh fruit growing here. Tomorrow I will take some men ashore and look about. This is pretty mysterious, isn't it? Kind of fits that tone that Chris Van Allsburg usually has to his writing. June 6th. So this is the next day. I have just returned from the island. It is strange indeed. The vegetation is lush, but not a single plant bears fruit. The air has an odor that at first seems sweet and pleasant, then becomes an overpowering stink. I saw no sign of animal life, not even an insect. We found a spring that had water too bitter to drink. We also discovered something quite extraordinary, which I have brought aboard. What do you think it is? I feel like I know. I bet it's that stone, right? It is a rock, approximately 2 feet across. It is roughly textured, gray in color, but a portion of it is as flat and smooth as glass. I'm going to read that one more time, and I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to picture what this rock looks like. It is a rock approximately 2 feet across. So if a foot is about this part of your arm, maybe 2 feet. It is roughly textured, gray in color, but a portion of it is as flat and as smooth as glass. From this surface comes a glowing light that is quite beautiful and pleasing to look at. The thing is unbelievably heavy, requiring 6 strong men to lift it. With great effort, we were able to get it aboard and into the forward hold. We have set sail and are underway again. That is such an example, a good example of detailed writing. He spent this whole paragraph describing the stone that we found. I know how it feels, like it's heavy. I know what it looks like. June 10th. So this is going to be 3 days after they found the stone. The crew is fascinated by the rock. When not needed on deck, they are down below, gazing in silence at the peculiar light it gives off. They miss the music and storytelling that have become part of our ship's life. The last few days have passed quite slowly. The men, however, seem perfectly content. I am sure their interest in the stone will fade anyway soon. What do you think? Will their interest in the stone fade away soon? June 13th, so 3 days later, 6 days after they found the stone. Something is wrong with the crew. They rarely speak, and though they swing through the rigging more quickly than ever, they walk the decks in a clumsy, stooped-over fashion. Last night I heard shrieks coming from the forward hold. I believe they have contracted some kind of fever that came on board with the stone. I told Mr. Howard that tomorrow I will have the thing thrown overboard. Seems strange, doesn't it? June 14th. So this is a full week after they found the stone. This morning, I awoke to find the deck deserted. The wheel was tied steady with a rope. I believe Mr. Howard, who spent some time around the rock, told the men about my plan to get rid of it. They have now locked themselves in the forward hold. They apparently believe in their feverish state that I can sail this boat alone while they sit around that wretched stone. So we get our first real look at the captain. So, June 15th. We are in grave danger. A powerful storm is headed this way. All morning long, the wind has grown steadily stronger. The sky is filled with dark clouds. I am unable to shorten the sails by myself. With this much canvas up, we will surely be blown over and sink when the full force of the storm arrives. I am going forward again to try to get the crew to work. All our lives depend on it. That's quite the storm, isn't it? Now I want to take a second and I want to ask you, why do you think he chose this format? Why did he choose to write this as a captain's log or journal with dates in it? I think that he probably chose that format because it shows the passage of time. If every one of these said the next day, 5 days later, 7 days later, it wouldn't sound very good, would it? It would kind of get repetitive. It would sound a little boring. But by showing it as a journal, he can give us little quick snippets of days, just the most important thing from each day. This is not a small moment story, right? This is a story that happens over lots of time. But he doesn't need to tell every moment that happens in a detailed way, just the most important one. And that's what he chooses to write in his diary that becomes this book. It's an interesting format. I wonder if maybe on one of your free writing days this week, you could try to write a story over a couple journal entries. Might be kind of cool. This is, I am sure, my last entry. What I have just seen is so horrifying, I barely have the strength to write it down. After I pounded at the door to the forward hold, it finally swung open. But it was not a man who opened the door. It was an ape. The whole crew has turned into hairy beasts. They just sat there, grinning at that terrible rock. They don't understand a word I say. We are all doomed. June 16th. Remember, we started on May 8th is when they finished bringing supplies aboard. So we're over a month in, 1 month, 8 days. The storm has passed. The Rita Ann is still afloat, but both mast and rudder are lost. The stone has gone dark. We were struck by lightning twice during the storm. I believe that was the cause. It sounds like a clue to me. Struck by lightning and the stone goes dark. Unfortunately, the crew is unchanged. They are still beasts, but seem sad and lost without the glowing rock. I have moved them back to their quarters. We have food for 2 weeks. I am hopeful of a rescue. I love the way he draws clouds with light coming through like this. And do you notice how when the light comes through, it's kind of drawing your eye to the boat? I think he does that on purpose. That is his arrangement to the picture. June 19th. I've made an encouraging discovery. I am playing violin and reading to the crew. It is having a positive effect. They are walking upright and have an alert look in their eyes. June 24th. Who's in the forward hold today? A dull glow was coming from the stone. I have it covered and will keep the compartment locked. This is very different than the crew he started with, right? It was able to read and sing and dance and tell stories. June 28th. I am happy to report that the men have returned to normal. It seems that those who knew how to read recovered most quickly. June 30th. We are saved. A ship has been spotted off our starboard side. I have decided to scuttle the Rita Ann. There is only one place for the wretched stone. Before we abandon ship, I will set a fire that will send this vessel and her cargo to the bottom of the sea. So look at the picture. He is looking. He wants you to look where he's looking, right? So we follow his eyes, and you can see the black smoke. What is that black smoke? It says boat, right? July 12th. Our rescuers have left us in the harbor town of Santa Pongo. One by one, the crew should be able to sign on to ships passing through and work their way home. We have made an agreement not to talk about the strange events that took place for the Rita Ann. The men appear to have recovered completely, though some show an unnatural appetite for the fruit that is available here. A little monkey banana humor for you. And that is the end of the Wretched Stone. So we are left to wonder, what is the author trying to say to us here? What does the stone represent? I bet some of you have some really great ideas. And in fact, I am going to hold off on telling you what I think. I want you to leave your ideas in our comment section on Google Classroom. And then I tell you what, tomorrow I will respond to you guys and tell you what I think is going on in this book. All right, I can't wait to hear your ideas. See you next time.